Welcome to Football with Cheese. So in this video, we have to talk about the Green Bay Packers leadership situation, why it may be hurting the team, and why there's no accountability in the organization. But first, if you are new to the channel and you have not subscribed, please do so now and hit the bell for notification so you never miss one of my videos. Make sure you check out, if you have not, I'm going to link at the end here. It's why the Packers have become a joke around the NFL. Made it a few days ago. Got so many comments. Thank you guys so much. Most of you agree with me. There are a few out there that still defend LaFleur no matter what. You probably defended Mike McCarthy as well, but that's okay. Every opinion is welcome. Just be respectful. Now, as you know, Matt LaFleur should have been fired, and instead he was extended recently by new team president Ed Policy. He took over in July for Mark Murphy, who had to retire. When you're 70, if you're the team president, you have to retire. It's just the way the Packers have always operated. And they also extended General Manager Brian Gutekunst. We're going to talk about all three of them in this video. And I personally think both should have been fired. I think they needed a reset, not a rebuild, just a reset. New GM, new head coach, just some new blood into this organization because it's gotten stale. It's a talented team with a good young quarterback, but it's just not working. 3 straight years, the 7th seed. And I talked about that in the other video I mentioned earlier. If they had not added that 7th seed, there used to be 6 teams that made the playoffs in each conference, then the Packers would not have made the playoffs in 4 straight years. And it's pretty obvious that the Packer leadership doesn't care about winning. In fact, you can be the 7th seed every year and you can get a contract extension. You can have a 3-score lead against your division rival in the playoffs, blow it, and still get a contract extension. You can lose games on block kicks. You can lose games on onside kicks. You can lose games with bad play calling. You can just give the game away twice in a year to your division rival. Should beat the Bears 3 times. And Ben Johnson won't be running his mouth. And you can get a contract extension. You can miss on every first-round pick since 2020. And you can get a contract extension. Now, let's talk about Ed Policy first. So, he's 55 years old, so he'll be the Packer president for at least the next 14 and a half years. He was hired by the Packers in 2012. His dad was an executive for the Browns and 49ers, Carmen Policy. And he was a vice president, general counsel, got promoted a couple times, most recently CEO and president, starting last year when Mark Murphy had to retire. So he's been there a while. A lot of people probably don't realize that. Oh, he just became the president last year. This was probably planned for years and years and years. And a year before he took over, he was named as the successor to Murphy. So he's known, General Manager Brian Gutekunst, at least since 2012. Gutekunst has been with the Packers much longer. He actually went to school at Wisconsin Lacrosse, played defensive back. He started in the NFL with the Chiefs. He was a scout for 1 year. Then he became the Packers East Coast scout for 13 years under Ron Wolf and Ted Thompson. Then he got promoted in 2012 to the director of college scouting. That's a big deal for a scout because you're in charge of all the scouting, and a lot of current general managers in the NFL start out as director of college scouting because a lot of teams build through the draft. And so pretty much you're in charge of the draft. You don't make the selections in the draft. The general manager does, but you are in charge of the draft. And eventually he became general manager in 2018 when Ted Thompson agreed to step down. So he has been with the Packers since 1999. He has worked with Ed Policy since 2012, and they're very likely good buddies. You'll sense the theme in a second. Matt LaFleur, he got started in the NFL as an offensive assistant with the Texans, eventually was on the Redskins and Notre Dame and Atlanta Falcons, all as quarterback coach. He was actually the quarterback coach in the Atlanta team that lost a 28-3 second-half lead in the Super Bowl. Yes, blowing big leads. That's a theme. Then he became the Rams offensive coordinator under Sean McVay for 1 year and then left to become the Titans offensive coordinator to get a play calling job. Because it's difficult to get a head coaching job unless you're actually the play caller, and Sean McVay was the play caller. So LaFleur goes to the Titans. He's only there 1 year under Mike Vrabel, who coached the Titans back then, and he gets the Packer job. And it was a really off-the-wall hire, really strange hire. Very similar to Mike McCarthy. When Ted Thompson hired Mike McCarthy, gosh, I don't know, 2005, something like that. He was only a coordinator for his team for 1 year, and it was the 49ers, and they were one of the worst offenses in the NFL. It was a big surprise hire at the time. Most people thought the Packers would hire Sean Payton. Yes, they interviewed Sean Payton and didn't hire him. And Sean Payton wanted the job. They hired Mike McCarthy instead. It was a shock. They interviewed something like 8 or 9 guys. He was seen as like the 7th or 8th best chance to get the job. So fast forward to Matt LaFleur. Same thing, only a coordinator for 1 year. And the Titans offense stunk that year. Yet he still gets the job. And I remember the press conference. Mark Murphy said he really stood out among all the candidates. Okay, but his offense sucked. Just like McCarthy's offense for the 49ers sucked before he got the job. Just very strange. Both were not really sexy hires at all. Not very popular with me, neither one. So, all 3 of these gentlemen have known each other since at least 2019. That's when LaFleur was hired. I'm sure he knew policy and Gutekunst before then, through NFL circles. But it's very possible these 3 are golfing buddies. Very good chance they hang out together. We know they were spotted at a Green Bay hotel bar having drinks on Wednesday night. Maybe they do this all the time. If you live in a big city, it's probably easier to go out for drinks and not be recognized. But in a town that's barely over 100,000 people, you're going to be recognized. The town is the team. They know who all these people are. They recognize them. Of course, they're going to recognize Matt LaFleur. So, this is a problem. These are all buddies. We thought Ed Policy put LaFleur and Gutekunst on notice when he didn't extend him. Turns out that was total bullshit. They were going to get extended no matter what because they're buddies. Look, I don't have definitive evidence of this, but it makes sense. And when the team president, basically the de facto owner, not going to get fired, probably for 14 and a half years, he can pretty much do whatever he wants. So he extends Gutekunst, he extends LaFleur, the 3 of them, no accountability. This is the one problem with not having an owner. That's one thing I love about the Packers. They don't have an owner. The board selects the president selects the GM and the coach. Then you don't get this meddling owner like Mark Davis and Al Davis go through 12 coaches in 20 years or whatever the Raiders have. You don't make quick decisions. But at the same time, there's no accountability. At least an owner, you're going to have accountability. If I owned a team, I would not be buddy-buddy with the head coach. I would not hang out with the players. I would spend a lot of time with the GM because you have to. But I still wouldn't invite them over for a barbecue because you have to detach yourself because you might have to fire them. Yes, I would spend time with the GM. I would spend time with the head coach, even more so the GM because I want to know his draft strategy. What do you think in this draft? I would meet with some of the players, but there's no way I would become their buddy because I know down the line I might have to fire them. And it looks like Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, and Matt LaFleur are drinking buddies, probably golf buddies. And that's a problem. There's no accountability. Matt LaFleur can do what he wants. Matt LaFleur can blow 18-point leads against the Bears. Doesn't matter. He can go 3-6 in the playoffs, which is horrible. One of the worst records in NFL history in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. He can lose 2 NFC title games, one of which was at home and they were favored. Doesn't matter. Brian Gutekunst can miss on every single first-round pick. He can take athletes that aren't football players. He can sign Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs as free agents, 2 complete busts that were way overpaid. It doesn't matter. There is no accountability. I want to shout out a couple of my subscribers. PJ Artistics was the first one, and at 72who was the second one. They both gave me idea for this video. 72who made a good point. The deal took 6 days, and they announced it or leaked it to the press Saturday night during the Seahawks 49ers game when that was going to be talked about. Bills Broncos was going to be talked about. Bo Nix injury was what they're going to talk about. Slipped it in Saturday night, not on Monday morning when it would have been big news. So the 6-day waiting period was all about timing. They knew it would be unpopular. They knew the fans would not be happy, so they snuck it in on a Saturday night. That's what you do. You notice a lot of news, politicians will announce it on July 4th or something like that, or Memorial Day afternoon, Labor Day afternoon, when everyone's out doing something. Everyone was watching the game or talking about what happened in the Bills-Broncos game. They planned this. And at PJ Artistics made another good point. LaFleur can keep terrible assistant coaches. No accountability. Keep whoever you want. Hire whoever you want. There's some really bad assistants on his staff. Adam Stenovich is not a good offensive coordinator. I think he was an overrated offensive line coach. The offensive line was really good back then, but I don't necessarily think it was because of him. I think it was just really talented. He didn't make David Bakhtiari and Corey Linsley and Brian Bulaga great. They just were. And Luke Butkus, the offensive line coach that took over for Stenovich, is horrible. I have never seen worse technique in my life on Green Bay Packers offensive linemen. Anthony Belton needs so much work. Jordan Morgan needs a ton of work. Those are their first round pick in 2024 and their second round pick in 2025. Both were huge reaches. They are athletic because Brian Gutekunst believes in athleticism. But the problem is, when you draft athletes that need development, you have to have good assistants that can develop these players. And they have a terrible group of assistant coaches, for the most part. A terrible offensive line coach. Luke Butkus, by the way, he's the nephew of Dick Butkus. So maybe he's purposely doing bad to help the Bears. Who knows? But he needs to be fired. And the one assistant coach that has still not been fired, and won't be for some reason, he's 65 years old, just retire already, is Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coach. He is horrible. He's worse than that. And LaFleur won't fire him because they're buddies. They're good friends. And the special team sucks every single year since LaFleur took over. It's cost them games. It's cost them at least 3 games this year. Can you imagine if you flipped that? They would have been the 2 seed. They might still be playing. Doesn't matter. No accountability. You don't have to fire Bisaccia. You don't have to fire Luke Butkus. Absolutely ridiculous. I do want to shout out a couple of assistants I really like. Sean Mannion, the quarterback coach, he's done a good job. Ben Sermon's running back coach as well. He's done really well. So not having an owner actually has become a huge problem in Green Bay. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to win in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. And people in the media will get their back. They're friends in the media. They call them up, and you can see who it is. It's not just the Packer media, national media too. You can see who it is. Always defending LaFleur. And they always do the same excuses over and over. Great play designer, great play caller. Look at his record, 76-40 overall. The same talking points over and over again. They think you're stupid. They think you're dumb. Packer fans, you're just supposed to accept mediocrity. You're supposed to accept 9 or 10 wins, losing in the first round of playoffs. This is the organization that stuck with Mike McCarthy and Dom Capers way too long, probably because McCarthy won a Super Bowl. But they wasted a ton of Aaron Rodgers. MVP wasted his prime. Only won that one Super Bowl. That's why McCarthy probably hung on too long. And they're about to waste Jordan Love's prime. They're about to waste Micah Parsons' prime. This is what they're going to do. And they're not going to win the Super Bowl next year. They're undisciplined. A lot of players take plays off. They get a ton of penalties. Bad special teams. The same things have happened over and over again. It's going to continue to happen under the leadership of Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, and Matt LaFleur. The same thing that's happened over the last 3 years is going to happen again. And the media will defend it. Packer writers will defend it because they want access. They want to drink beers with Policy and Gutekunst and LaFleur. So they'll defend it because that's their buddy. They've played this perfectly. Policy, Gutekunst, and LaFleur have played this perfectly. The Packer media, they have them wrapped around their fingers. They have the national media controlled too. Good thing there's social media, because then fans would not know all this. But let me know what you think in the comments. It's pretty disgusting. The more I think about this, the more frustrating I get. But they're not a serious organization. There's no accountability, and they're not winning a Super Bowl with those 3 in charge. Ed Policy had a chance to fire Gutekunst, fire LaFleur, and get better people in there at both those jobs, and he failed. And what a disaster. We should get Fire Ed Policy hashtag going on X. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Once again, subscribe if you have not. Almost at 600 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I just hit my year anniversary last week when I started my channel. It's been going amazing. I really, really appreciate it. Me and Mike tomorrow night, Lights Out Podcast, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We talk baseball, college football, and of course NFL. We'll talk more coaching hires, obviously. I got a video tomorrow coming about Indiana. It's a college football video. not necessarily recap the game. I'll do that a little bit, but I want to talk about Indiana, win or lose, the impact they have, why it's so good for college football, and how they did what they did. So make sure you look out for that. I might also make, if I have time, a Pittsburgh Steelers video just breaking down all their coaching candidates and who I think would be the best choice. My friend Dave asked me about that, so look out for that as well. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow the channel. Once again, check out this video about how the Packers have become a joke organization, and I'll see you in the next one.